What's up, beautiful people? It's Punzile. Welcome to my channel where we discuss all things personal finance to help you achieve holistic financial goals. Please subscribe for more financial education content to learn and improve your finances. I am not a financial advisor and none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, contact a financial advisor who is certified and registered with the FSCA. I share what I have learned with an attempt to educate. In today's video, we are discussing emergency fund. What is it? How do you build one? And where to keep it so that you are never stranded when you need money the most? Let's get into it. Here are 7 steps to saving money in an emergency fund. Emergencies and unexpected expenses can strike when you least expect. And it's for this reason that saving money in an emergency fund is essential to good personal finance management. Life is full of ups and downs. A geyser may burst, your car might break down and need expensive repairs, or medical emergencies that result in costly medical bills. We can't always be prepared for the physical or emotional challenges life hands us, but we can at least be prepared to handle the bills that comes with those unexpected events. Essentially, an emergency fund is the cash you've saved up for the sole purpose of helping you maintain the everyday life as you navigate through an emergency, such as a job loss or an illness. When you are in a financial distress, emergency savings will give you a safety net to fall back on until you get back on your feet. But without any savings, you'll likely end up neglecting your existing payment obligation or putting purchases on high-interest credit cards, all of which can drive you into debt. It can be hard to squeeze out a few rands from each salary to funnel into an emergency savings account, especially if you are barely able to make ends meet. But it's for this reason that building emergency savings should be a priority. If you have little or no savings to handle emergencies, that can lead to a devastating financial situation. You end up going into bad debt or having to sell your investment at a loss. Another thing to keep in mind is that you don't have to wait until you've paid off debt before you start saving for emergencies. Continue making minimum payments to your credit cards and loans, but start building your emergency fund now so that an emergency situation doesn't push you into more debts. You need to have that as a buffer against financial ruin. It could be a difference between weathering a short-term storm or going deeper into debt. Building an emergency fund takes discipline, time, and sacrifices, but it can be done. If you are not sure how to save for emergencies, I've got you covered. Here are 7 steps for building an emergency fund, so you'll be able to weather the financial challenges life throws your way. Number 1, break down your saving goals into small steps. Some financial experts recommend saving 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses, not necessarily 3 to 6 months of your salary or your income, but your bare minimum living expenses. Things like food, housing, electricity, and transportation. And although this is certainly a goal to aspire to, building an emergency fund size of this magnitude is a daunting task. And as a result, many people give up before even getting started. It takes a long time to build an emergency fund. So it's important to start out small and build from there. Some people set a large goal for their emergency fund right off the bat, only to discover down the road that it's going to take much longer than anticipated. Along the way, they'll start to get discouraged and eventually give up altogether. So it's important to set a low initial target such as 12,000 rands or 15,000 rands, which can be enough to cover a car or home repair, and work your way up. If you were to save 1,000 rand each month, you would have saved 12,000 rands in a year. Once you've reached that amount, you can set another goal, say 30,000 rand, and in time, you build your way to a fairly sizable emergency fund. Give yourself time and don't get discouraged. Even if you were to save 500 rand a month, you'll have 6,000 rands in a year, which makes a world of a difference when you're dealing with an emergency. What's important is that you take action and start saving, no matter how small, and remain consistent. Rome wasn't built in a day, and the same goes for your emergency fund. Set aside a fixed amount from your earning each month. This amount will be different for each person, but you should try to make each monthly contribution count. Number 2, open a separate emergency savings account. Once you have a savings goal in mind, the next step is to open a savings account, which should be kept separate from your daily spending account. Shop around and find a bank that gives you a saving account with a decent interest rate and low fees. Ideally, you want interest rate that matches or beat inflation. If you put your money into an account with an interest rate that doesn't match or beat inflation, your savings will lose value over time. Meaning, what you could buy with 1,000 rands today, you might need up to 1,250 rands to buy the same thing in the next 5 years. Having a separate savings account builds a psychological wall between the money you can touch and the money you shouldn't touch. If you add in your emergency fund money together with the funds in your day-to-day regular check account, you'll be more tempted to spend it because you'll see it regularly and it's easily accessible. You are now going to have a clothing emergency, a vacation emergency. Nah, this money is not for that. So when you're opening an emergency savings account, take some precautionary measures to keep your money safe from yourself. Out of sight, out of mind. You can open an account with a different bank from the one you do regular banking with to avoid impulsive shopping. Because emergencies can happen in a blink of an eye, money in an emergency fund needs to be liquid so that it can be accessed when you need it. This means keeping it in an account where money can be withdrawn without incurring penalties. Number 3, automate deposits into your savings account. Now that you have an account designated for emergencies, the next step is to automate deposits so that they go direct into your savings account. You can do this yourself through online banking or by visiting your bank. The easiest way to approach this step is to treat your emergency fund as you would a bill. Incorporate your savings contribution into your budget and make it a point to make payment monthly, as you would with your other bills. If you approach your savings as a bill, you'll prioritize it. By scheduling automatic payment into your emergency fund, you won't have to remind yourself to transfer money to your emergency fund, and you won't be tempted to spend it on something else. If you can't see the money sitting in your check account, you are not likely to spend it. What's important is that the amount you put towards your emergency fund is affordable, realistic, and in line with the savings goals you identified earlier on. The smallest amount will do wonders to help you build a safety net, no matter how small for now, while instilling savings mindset and the discipline you need to help you reach your goals. Remember, this has to be a priority to you so that you can be committed to building a sufficient emergency fund. Number 4, funnel extra money into your savings account. With your saving game in plan, You can sit back and watch your emergency fund grow, but it won't hurt to boost your fund with the extra money you come across, whether it be through tax refund, cash gifts, or a bonus from work. Put some of it in your savings to help you reach your goal faster, instead of spending all the extra money on things that are not needs but wants. Yes, you can use some of it to spoil yourself a little. Another thing, you are using this money to supplement your emergency fund, but don't depend on it entirely to build your emergency fund. When you wait for an annual bonus to save, you never really learn the habit of saving. And when that money comes, you will have a list of things you need already in your head. Because saving is a habit that you must learn over time with the little that you have in order to be good at it. If you finish paying off a credit card or your car loan, take the amount you were paying towards that and put it in your emergency fund. Your budget won't notice the difference, but your emergency fund will certainly do. Number 5, look for ways to boost your income and cut expenses. In addition to funneling your extra cash into your saving fund, increase your cash flow. Increasing your cash flow and cutting back on your expenses can make a world of a difference. If there's stuff that you don't need anymore in your home, clean them up and sell them as used items, be it on Facebook Market, Gumtree, or OLX. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to pay money for your old phone or that bridesmaid's dress you only wore once. Getting a side hustle is another great way to boost your income. If you enjoy writing, consider freelancing a few articles or blog posts. If you are particularly crafty, monetize on your skill by selling your craft online. If you've got a few spare hours on your hands, research jobs that you can do online, like teaching English. If time is tight and you can't squeeze in a side business, consider to temporarily cut back on your expenses while you are building your emergency fund. If you are looking for ideas on how to save money, do a research on the internet to get ideas that would be the most practical for you. Here are a few to get you started. Instead of going out to eat with family and friends, have home-cooked meals to cut costs. Make an effort to cook great food and create a fun vibe at home. Meal plan based on what's on special at the grocery store. Check your flyers for specials and deals. Use the store reward cards for discount or points that can be converted to cash to buy in store. Make a shopping list and take it with you when you hit the grocery store. Having a list will help you stay focused on what you need, so you won't be tempted to fill the trolley and spend extra money. Do you have a gym membership but hardly use it? Are you paying for premium DSTV, Netflix, and other entertainment subscription which you never have enough time to watch? If so, consider getting rid of some of them. Reduce the amount of money that you spend on your phone calls or data. This is easier to control when you are on prepaid. Buy only what you need until you reach your emergency fund goal. You can't buy the nice to haves like the latest phone while the one that you have still works perfectly. You are making sacrifices so that you can later have the peace of mind you need. Negotiate your credit card and loan interest rates whenever possible. Whatever money you can save, put it towards your emergency fund. Side note, it's good practice to always negotiate, especially when you make big financial commitments like purchasing a home, a car, or renting. Individually, these small cuts may not seem like a lot, but added together, they will make a significant difference in the long run. Number 6, review your budget regularly. Having a budget is essential to any financial plan, and it's important to review it on a regular basis to ensure your saving and spending needs are still in line with your current financial situation. While you are reviewing your budget, ask yourself whether you could be saving more. If you normally allocate 1,000 rand to take away each month, see if you can cut it down by 500 rand and put the money you've saved towards your emergency fund. Same goes for clothing, entertainment, and personal care. Every little bit helps, even if you're only trimming your budget by 500 rand a month. Number 7, use the emergency savings only in an emergency situation. For your emergency fund to grow, it's important that you use it only in emergencies. As time progresses, you'll start to see a sizable egg basket building up. But don't be tempted to spend the money on a vacation, a big screen smart TV, or other things that aren't emergencies. It's called an emergency fund for a reason, so don't touch the money unless you have a true emergency. If you withdraw from the account every now and then, rationalizing it that you'll make it up with your next pay, you may be setting in motion a new habit that could take you backwards. Try not to sabotage yourself and commit to leaving your emergency fund untouched. It's tempting to use some of that fund money to just buy what you want, but when emergencies strike, that latest smartphone you bought or the PlayStation won't pay the bills. Once you can afford it, begin to put some money aside each month for regular savings and save up the money you need to do the things you want, like going on a vacation or buying that PlayStation guilt-free. Start saving in an emergency fund sooner rather than later. An emergency fund can make the difference between financial failure and financial stability. Saving for 6 or more months' worth of expenses may sound unreachable, but don't let the numbers intimidate you from starting. What's important is that you have a savings fund to dip into when times get tough. If you are in a tough financial spot, saving for an emergency, let alone saving money, can be difficult, especially if you have debt payments and other financial obligations to make. However, even the smallest savings can be a lifesaver when your financial situation changes unexpectedly. You may ask, but I have insurance for emergencies. Great, but not everything can be insured. Create your safety net through a combination of cash and insurance safety net. I have created a free quick checklist to get you started on your financial goals. It will give you a framework of financial goals worth pursuing, one of which is creating an emergency fund. Grab it, the link is in the description below. I hope you start building your emergency fund to create a safety net for you and your family. Please like, subscribe, and hit a notification button for more videos like this. Thank you.